Yeah, that's amazing. I do feel when talking to you now that you have a lot of things in place already that most people don't. And the way you speak, it sounds like you're on the right path, man. And I wish you a lot of success with that. Was there that where the podcast came in, or was that before where you decided to focus more inwards? Because from what I heard on the podcast, it's like you're talking to yourself a lot and trying to figuring out the right steps and putting blocks together.
Yeah, like I think it was just like, I'm going to tell my story to people, and I'm going to, like, what the podcast has turned into now really is a roundup of my week. It's like it's turned into the thought patterns and the readings and the experiences that I've had during that week have really just filtered into my life. And that's, like I mentioned to you today, that I had to take a week off training because my body was basically telling me, we got to stop, we got to slow down here. And that's just something that I really hadn't done very much of, was listening to my body to that extent and really giving it that time off. And when something like that happens, and when it's a new experience, there is new lessons to be had. Yeah. If you are actually willing to turn inwardly and figure out, okay, why have you never slowed down and given yourself that break? Because my ego was telling me, we got to be pushing all the time. You're that ultramarathon guy. Everybody thinks of you as the ultramarathon guy. You got to be able to push through all this type of crap.
You have to be always on, right?
Absolutely.
You can't take days off.
100%. And I said this, I was so much more vocal about my week off training on my Instagram than I was ever really about my training weeks.
Yeah.
Because I wanted people to know that, like, our lives are not Instagram. Our lives are not, what we put across. Our lives are ups, downs, where we have to ride the crest of waves. And that's what the episode of the podcast was called, was Learning from Waves, because I was learning from the waves of life. And, I'm going to be up on the top and the crest of the wave, and I'm going to be down into the barrel of the wave as well. And that's okay. But, it's the learnings that you're going to have from both ends of those spectrums. That's what I'm interested in. And that's what the podcast really is like being able to flip scripts. The reason why I never took the break off training is because I'm just able to do it. I'm just able to, my mind over matter. No, it's because you are being driven by your ego to keep going long after you should. And there's a time and place. There's a time and place to listen to my body. And, like, during an ultramarathon, I don't listen to it. It doesn't register, and it doesn't get any say whatsoever. We just move forward, and that's it. When I'm doing a training block and I have that time to just, to really think about, like, I'm doing this for my health as well. You know what I mean? I'm doing this for my well-being as well. I'm training because it makes me feel good, physically and mentally. So, if it's not doing that, then we're not getting what we want out of it. So then we're just butting our heads against the wall, So I really feel like, like that's what I call, in terms of like training is like running maturity, maturity in running. Knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing when to push.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.